Good afternoon. Could you tell us your name?
Yes, my name is Dr. Ashley Norton.
Dr. Norton, why are you in court today?
Well, I was hired by Miss Dawson to review the alcohol breath technology that was used to determine her blood alcohol concentration level.
Before we talk about that assessment, I want to give the jury a chance to get to know you a bit better and how you can talk about those tests. Where did you go to school?
I got my Bachelor's of Science from Brown University in chemistry, and I also got my PhD and Master's in Forensic Science from Johns Hopkins University.
So after getting your bachelor's from Brown and your master's and PhD, what did you do from there?
Well, actually now I teach. I teach a science class here at Midland State University.
Is there anything you specialize in?
Yes, alcohol testing and alcohol pharmacology.
So whenever you're looking at these tests that law enforcement give to certain people, what types of information do you need?
Well, really the only thing that I need to know is the type of test that was used to determine someone's blood alcohol concentration level.
Are you familiar with what test was used on Ms. Dawson?
Yes, sir, I am.
And what test was that?
The Intoxilizer 8000.
So after you know what type of machine was used on a subject, where do you, as an analyzer, go from there?
Well, I look at the steps that go into completing such a test, and then I try and determine what possible problems may have occurred with the administration of that test.
So, is that what you did in this case, when you were looking at the testing done on Ms. Dawson?
Yes, sir, it is.
And did you reach your conclusions, Doctor, to a reasonable degree of scientific certainty?
I did indeed.
All right, so let's talk about some of those problems that you found with the testing done on Ms. Dawson.
All right.
What are some of those?
There were essentially two problems that may have occurred. And that was a problem with mouth alcohol, as well as the ratio assumed by the Intoxilizer 8000.
I want to split those up and talk about them one at a time. Now, were you in court when Dr. Smith, the person who gave the test to Ms. Dawson, was here?
Yes, I was.
She told the court that she didn't want to focus on that ratio because it wasn't that important. Is that quite accurate? Does that ratio not really matter when you're giving a test to someone?
The ratio makes all the difference in the world. The ratio is what is used to determine a person's blood alcohol concentration level.
Okay, so let's take it back for a moment, and I want you to explain to us what exactly this ratio is.
Well, the machine doesn't measure the amount of alcohol in your blood. It measures the amount of alcohol in your breath. It then takes the amount of alcohol in your breath and uses a ratio to convert that to measure the amount of alcohol in your blood.
Now, I know when you were explaining this to me, you used an example that you would sometimes give to your students to understand this ratio.
Yes.
Do you think it'd be helpful for the jury to really understand how exactly this ratio works?
I do.
All right. Your Honor, may the witness step down to make use of a demonstrative? Sure. All right. Come on down. And Ms. Arnold, I'm going to need your help. All right. Dr. Norton, I'm handing you 3 balloons.
That's correct.
What are we doing with the balloons, Doctor?
Let's make it for Miss Arnold. Come on over here. Okay. Take that balloon.
Okay.
You can take the red one. I'll have the pink one.
Your Honor, may I relocate during this demonstrative?
Okay, so you just handed us 3 balloons. Where do we go from there?
Okay. Well, what I want us to do is I want us to blow, just take a deep breath and blow up these balloons. Now, it's important to note that we are 3 separate human beings. You're obviously a bigger human being, and you're a little bit smaller of a human being. We're going to assume that I'm an average-sized human being, even though I'm not really, but we're just going to assume that. I want us to take a deep breath and blow a full breath of air into the balloon.
So, to clarify, Doctor, one entire full breath from the 3 of us.
That's right.
Okay?
Go ahead.
All right.
And go ahead and tie it off.
All right. All right. Well, here we go.
Okay. Now, as you'll notice, we have 3 different size balloons. Take these balloons as our ratios. The problem with the Intoxilizer 8000 is that it assumes a single ratio, but different human beings have different ratios.
So, what exactly does that mean? What does the Intoxilizer assume when they give a number that's read out to a person?
Well, let's take your green balloon. Your green balloon is smaller than my pink balloon. The problem with the Intoxilizer 8000 is if you have a higher ratio, it will take your result and it will make it smaller to match the average ratio. The opposite is also true. If you have a smaller ratio, the Intoxilizer 8000 will take your result and make it bigger to match the average.
So how exactly is this a problem?
Well, if a person has a smaller ratio, then their results will actually be bigger. So the results that come out with the Intoxilizer 8000 with a person with a smaller ratio will actually be wrong.
So how does this relate back to Ms. Dawson when she was given this test?
Well, if Miss Dawson had a smaller ratio, then her actual results would be half of what the Intoxilyzer 8000 produced.
All right, doctor, thank you. You can take your seat. Ms. Arnold, thank you so much. So you've explained to us what exactly this breath-to-blood ratio issue is. But you also mentioned a second problem that you found with the testing done on Ms. Dawson.
Yes.
What was that problem?
That's a problem with mouth alcohol, residual mouth alcohol.
Could you tell us what exactly mouth alcohol is?
Think of it like bad breath. When you eat an onion, your breath is still going to smell like onions. When you drink alcohol, your breath is still going to smell like alcohol because there's still alcohol in your mouth.
So how exactly is this a problem in regards to the testing done on Ms. Dawson?
Well, what the Intoxilyzer 8000 does is it measures the amount of alcohol that you blow into the machine. If there's alcohol in your mouth, that concentration is going to be higher because of the alcohol in your mouth, which means the results of the Intoxilyzer 8000 are going to be wrong.
Well, before we talk about that in regards to what Ms. Dawson did, can you explain to us what certain types of mouth alcohol actually are?
There's several things that can cause mouth alcohol. Obviously, drinking something like a beer or a shot will cause mouth alcohol, but other things like mouthwash, breath mints, sometimes if you've had dental work done, there will be mouth alcohol in your mouth. Things like indigestion, burping, things like that can cause mouth alcohol.
So certain symptoms can cause this mouth alcohol. Well, were any of these symptoms present when Ms. Dawson was given this test?
Yes, I asked Miss Dawson about these sort of symptoms, and she told me that she was suffering from heartburn that night, which is a symptom of indigestion, which can in fact cause mouth alcohol.
So, Dr. Norton, I want you to tell us, with this presence of mouth alcohol, the indigestion that Ms. Dawson was exhibiting, and the breath-to-blood ratio problem you mentioned earlier, what exactly do these two factors have in regards to the number that was given when Ms. Dawson was given this Intoxilyzer test?
Well, it tells us that the results of the Intoxilyzer 8000 are most certainly incorrect. There are certain variables that were not accounted for that night, and the result is wrong.
Thank you, Doctor. No further questions at this time.
Cross-examination.